All right, Rocket football fans, welcome back to the show this week. Week 9, Crittenden County hosts Russellville, a game we had circled on the schedule all season. Coach Thompson, we knew it would come down to this, or felt like it would come down to this, and sure enough, they come in 2-6. We come in 6-2. Their 2 wins are in the district. So we're both 2-0, and this is going to be the championship game of the regular season. District title, if there is one. The way the things have changed in the playoffs.
Playing for home field. We want to play. We want to play where we're comfortable. So we're playing to win this week because that keeps us home until the RPI takes over. So we win this week. First 2 rounds of playoffs, we're guaranteed to be home. So that's what we're playing for.
Speaking of RPI, I know you always like to talk about this. We are slowly moving up the RPI. Number 11 this week in the RPI, which is important as we get closer to that 3rd round of the playoffs. And we're number 10 in the Associated Press poll, so we're back in that. You got to feel good about it. We're getting back in.
No, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you the truth. This is what. As soon as I saw that we were 10 on the AP, I thought about you. I was like, golly, here comes Chris.
It's the media thing. We have to have something to talk about.
Yeah, and you take up for him all the time. You know, it's nice. I'm happy that people think that there's people out there that think that we're a top 10 team. We think we're a top 10 team in the state, but you know, it really doesn't matter to us. We have shown that we're comfortable being out of the top 10. It's about winning each week. That's what we're going to do.
And speaking of wins, and I don't know if you know this, our historian Andy Hunt has dug into the annals, the bowels of our statistical history, and found that if you win this football game Friday night, you'll be tied as the 3rd winningest coach in the history of Rocket football.
Yeah,
in less than 2 seasons.
Coach Courtney, he likes to read all that stuff, so I was aware of what y'all dug up. You know, he spends a lot of time reading y'all's research, so I was aware of it. And what it says to me is that Coach Saunders was an excellent coach because he has a ton of wins.
He has about half of the historical wins, but Coach Huff is the guy that you can tie. And in front of you will be Pat Gates. But Coach Huff, he was a coach, one of the early coaches of Rocket football, and he headed up that 1963 team that was really good. And some of the kids on the team now, their grandparents or great uncles, would be members of that team. I know my son's grandfather played on that team.
So basically, people like you get to mention my name with great coaches, and hopefully one day I get like them.
I know you'd like to be in the statistical historic significance of Rocket football. You know, we talk about the trivia question.
Yeah. Well, people like Austin Berry erased me as soon as I got there, so I'm not there. I'm nowhere to be found.
And also, we're closing in on a 300 win mark for the program, which is a significant plateau in the history of Rocket football. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back and delve into this wonderful show. We have Coach Courtney, defensive coordinator, here to keep us straight tonight.
I love option play.
Was that a 42 speed option?
Are you looking for a banking option?
Sequence, double cardigan.
Come to Marion soon.
5 regular season home games, at least 2 home playoff games, at 8 touchdowns per, 56 touchdowns. That's a lot of booms.
Cashback, please.
25 cents.
I need to cash this, please.
25 cents.
Cashback, please.
25 cents.
Hunter, why are you shortchanging the customers?
At this window, all you get's a quarterback.
Full Body Fitness, training Rockets and Rocket fans since 2006.
You know, ever since I was a child, I've loved land. I loved every land. My mother's father was a farmer, so my granddaddy and his father was a farmer, and I spent my childhood's summers in coming to Kentucky and working on the farm, and everything from the smell of dirt to feeling it run the dirt go between your fingers. There's nothing like it.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to get into Russellville right now. Russellville is a team that over the years has had a great deal of success. State championships, state semifinalists many times. And this is a team that owned us. They had beaten us 14 out of 15, at one, or I think 18 out of 19 even at one point. So in the last few years, we're kind of evening the score. We're still behind in the series. Russellville leads 28-12, but we've won 10 of the last 14, Coach Thompson, and we got a good chance this week.
Yeah, Russellville has a winning tradition. They've been really good in the past. I played against some tough Russellville teams that may not have been a successful time for them, but they still found ways to beat us. I think they kind of got a reputation like we have. You know, when you play Crittenden County, you're going to know that you played a football game, and I feel like the same way with Russellville and the athletes that they can put on the field. So their record isn't the greatest, but their schedule has been brutal. So I feel like with the schedule they played, they are still a very good football team, and I think that we're gonna have to go out and play football in order to win this week. So
There are no gimmies.
No, not for sure, not with this team. We just got to come out and play our game and make sure that the guys are serious. We've had a better week of practice than we had last week. You know, that's one of our telltale signs that when we're going to come out and play. So, you know, we just got to come out. I'm excited. I can't wait to play the game.
All right, I want to correct something. Crittenden County trails in the series 17-32. I know hardly anyone watching would know that except for Andy Hunt, and I want to make sure we correct that when we get that right. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back.
You go in the game this week, you're going style, Rocket fans. Come by Max 2 Custom Kit and Detail for a $15 warranty.
From our team to yours, we're behind you all the way, Rockets. Par 4 Plastics, where people make the difference.
Through the week, we are welding and fabricating. On Friday nights, we are grinding it out with the Rockets. Touchdown, Rockets!
T-Bone, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Good luck this week, Hayden.
Boys, we got to know what the game plan is this week. We're banking on you.
All right, Rocket football fans, let's turn our attention to Russellville. Coach Courtney, your job is to stop this offense this week with your defense, which has done pretty good this year. So far this season, the defense has held opposing teams to under 100 yards 5 times. And there may even be a sixth at the time. We're going to check some stats on that. But then 3 times held the opposition to under 50 yards. That's just an incredible statistic.
Yeah, our guys have did a really good job this year fitting the run. And we felt pretty good going into the year about what we had, especially in the box. We knew we'd be young in some places, but really wanted to hang our hat on stopping the run. We look back each year, and we're at the end of the year, we say what gets us beat. And at the end of the year, every time it's because people run the football on us. All right, so when we look at that, so we want to hang our hat on being able to stop the run. It's our #1 goal every week to hold opponents under 100 yards rushing. And this year, like you said, been able to do it at least 5 times, and I'm proud of the guys for that.
Yeah, incredible statistic. Tell us what we can expect from Russellville's offense and how we counter that.
They run kind of an option scheme, a lot of runs with a lot of pullers, different runs than you would normally see, but this week's going to come down to doing our job. Anytime we play an option offense that has multiple weapons out there at once, it's come down to just each guy just being disciplined, doing their job. Last year they ran a similar scheme, and I felt like we had a lot of success, but one player doesn't do his job on one play, and the quarterback goes down the sideline right before the half. And this team's capable of doing that just the same as they were last year. A lot of good players. I don't know that they have a breakout player, but all 6 of their skill guys are definitely good. You watch their films, it's a different one making a play every time. Their quarterback can really run around. So it's just going to be doing our job. It's going to be that simple. I don't need anyone to do anything special or great. Just simply do your job on each play, and we'll be all right.
The quarterback, Rise, I believe is the way you
I think
pronounce
that's
it.
right.
He does a really good job of hiding the football in that option.
Yeah, he does on the film. You can see him. He'll ride the running back really long, and it puts the defensive end or whoever that edge player is in a bind. He doesn't know. Your natural instinct is to go take the dive, and then there he goes, the quarterback running down the sideline. So, yeah, we definitely, like I said, we just have to be very disciplined on our assignments.
Let's talk a little bit about personnel. Of course, Tyler Boone, your leading tackler on the team, and he played a half last week and had double-digit tackles in a half, and he got a bruised hip. What's his status this week?
Right now, I would say he's questionable still to this point. We've put in practice, and he's got the reps this week. While Tyler's he's stood in the back and got the mental reps and got in the scouting report, and he knows everything that we're going to do. So it's just going to be up to how he feels. I don't know at this point. I mean, I'd say that there's a chance that he plays. Like I said, he's questionable. We'll see better tomorrow, and probably even going to Friday till we know that answer for sure.
And Lathan Easley, he's number 3 on the tackles list for the Rocket football team, and looks like we're going to have him back. He got ejected last week, but after an appeal, we've got him back.
Right.
I wouldn't say it was an appeal. It was an appeal. We didn't have to appeal because it was a misuse. The rule was not used correctly. The targeting is not an ejectable offense. So unless it was flagrant, and he shouldn't have been thrown out to begin with. But so he won't be punished. He was ejected, but he won't be punished. He won't have to serve that 1-game suspension. So that we didn't have to go through the appeal process. So that's good.
So it's just explain what you do. You call KHSAA, send them your film, send them the report.
Yeah, no, that the officials have 24 hours after they eject a player to get that turned in. They did that by Saturday afternoon, and the report is sent to the KHSAA's offices, their headquarters, as well as the school. So once they receive that report, I also receive it, or notice of it, and then you just read the report, and the way it was written up, that's just not the rule. It's not something that you're ejected for.
So it was a pretty easy decision.
Yeah, I didn't have to appeal it. They actually called me and let me know. So that's good. That's good for Lathan. And I hate it because Travis was also ejected, Travis Guess, and at this point we don't know with him because that would have to be, we would have to try to get that overturned. But with that being a judgment call, I know the state doesn't really like to overturn judgment calls because it doesn't matter what camera view you give them, you can't say what the official saw from looking at the film. And I hate it for Travis because Travis 100% did everything he's coached to do. He did it right, and he's punished in this situation. So I hate that for Travis. But at the same time, we gotta move forward. It's gotta be next man up, and he's just gotta be ready for next week when he gets to play again.
So the Lathan Easley ejection by rule was not correct, but the Travis Guess was a subjective call by the official, and therefore it's hard to argue those kind of calls. Coach Courtney, talk a little bit about Lathan and how important he is to the middle of this defense.
Very important. He's been consistent. Maybe you could argue our most consistent player for a long time. His speed down there and just his explosion, he's so fast off the football. I mean, probably the fastest, just getting off out of his stance and just winning and getting into a gap. And this week, especially with all the pull runs, with the guards are pulling, and the center's basically, and most of their runs, going to have to block Lathan head up, and it's going to be mono for mono, man for man. And Lathan presents a real problem to teams when they have to do that, just with his speed and his power. And it's big for us to have him this week, for sure.
And when we go to Ian Ellington at linebacker, if he has to replace Tyler Boone, can he be as effective playing both ways? Do you see any fall off in him?
We just have to see how he feels.
Of course, he has that
with the knee issue. I'll say he's really good when he's feeling good. Yeah. He can definitely do the job as good as most, better than a lot. He's a very good linebacker. But how he's going to feel, I don't know. It's going to have to be game or play by play, series by series. Have to talk to him and make sure he's doing all right. And we have other guys that are ready to go there. We understand that may not be something that he could do. But
really have a great linebacking. We've talked about that before. It's what we hang our hat on defensively. So, All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Since 1973, Hodges has been equipping Rockets and Rocket fans with gear and apparel. Come see us! We'll see you Friday night at the football game.
Here at H&H, we've got just about anything that it takes to get you back out on the field.
Hello, I'm Rick Hughes at Deer Lakes Golf Course in Salem, Kentucky, home of Rocket Golfers.
I'm Darren Tabor, Homestead Auction Realty. Let us get you across the goal line with a new home.
Welcome to Hometown Chiropractic. I'll be right with you.
All right, getting back to the show, we're going to talk about the Rocket offense this week and what we can expect against Russellville. Coach Thompson, last week we had Luke Crittenden come off the sideline and ran the team offensively at quarterback the second half and just really looked good. Does that mean that he will be in the starting lineup at quarterback this week?
Luke came in and provided a spark that we needed to get going last week, and what it means is that Luke Crittenden can play quarterback for us. So we know we have three guys that are ready to play quarterback, and that's what it is. It means we got three guys that are ready to play quarterback. Right now I can't tell you who's going to be the starter, but I know that Luke Crittenden is capable of doing it. I know that Hunter Jones is capable of doing it. I know that Braxton Winters is capable of doing it. And if I was a betting man, I'd say you see all three of them.
Yeah. Or if you knew the game plan, that would help when you're betting, right?
I mean, what happens is we get out there and they're doing the game, and Vicky's playing her music, and I'm doing my head bopping, and then the officials put their hand up and they put their hand down, and then we walk out to the 50. And then they do whatever they're going to do, coin toss, and they pick and see who gets the ball first. And then at that moment, that's when it hits me.
It's when you're going to make a decision.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be praying for you at that point.
But Hunter Jones has been a good defensive player for us since I've been here for the last 2 years. Been really solid at that Rocket position. And we started rotating Maddox there to give him some breaks so that Jonesy could go over and talk quarterback stuff and feel comfortable and figure out what was going on. But if he gets spared any time at quarterback, I can definitely use my defense. He's been with our Solid Rocket Award for the last 2 years, and that guy's just the guy that always does his job, for us. And I feel really confident about what he can give us, especially a week when it's about doing your job. Jones is the guy you can put in there, and he'll simply do what he's supposed to do.
Also, offensively, can't talk about that side of the football without mentioning Xander Tabor. Want to mention he's 32 yards away from that 1,000-yard plateau. No question, unless something tragic happens, he will get to that point this season, and hopefully in the first quarter.
Basically, if you look at the numbers, he needs about 4 carries.
The way I know you had a tweet earlier in the week. Over the last 3 games, he's averaged 9 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's a tough runner. He's a big part of our game plan. You talk game plan, and he'll continue to be as long as he's available. I think that he can go out and get those 32 yards, but that's not what it's about. He gives us a good chance to win when he has the ball. And he typically makes good decisions, good hard downhill runs. He has great vision, great cuts, and he finds the end zone a lot. So he's a guy that we have to use offensively if we want to be successful.
With Preston Morrison's speed, is he somebody we might see touch the ball this week a little more?
Yeah, he's a guy that we always want to get the ball to. It's just you have to be careful with him because he's still young and he's still learning. We do a lot of stuff offensively, so this is his first year in high school. The playbook's a lot bigger than it was in middle school, and he's playing multiple positions and different positions than he stayed primarily in Little League and middle school. So it's just a lot to learn and be able to do it all. But there's some things that we have put in every week to get him the ball, and one of those things was last week. Just you saw him get the ball in space. If we get it to him quickly and allow him to do what he does, he can make plays, because that was a negative catch with a man in his face turns into 17 yards. So his role continues to grow. He's out there 90% of the time now. So what that means, more touches.
With what Russellville does defensively, does that open up our throwing game a little bit? Because Preston Turley had a good game last week, and you've got all these other guys that can certainly catch the ball.
Yeah, we have depth out wide. Russellville actually runs a few different things, so it just depends what they come out and do. Typically, when we get Russellville every year, they run that. They end up coming out in a 4-2 box and playing man against us. That's what the game plan they've used the last couple of years, and we've been able to take advantage of it. So, I expect them to come out in a 4-2 and play man. For whatever reason, that's what they do against us, and if they do, we have stuff for that, and we'll attack it.
All right, well, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. All right.
Hey, Kelly, it's almost Friday.
And we'll see you at Rocket Stadium.
Hey, Rocket football fans!
Let Rommel Ellington tackle your dirty ride.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to get right to our trivia question. And no, the answer is not Coach Thompson. Although we could probably stick one in here because we were talking earlier about your senior year. Your senior year when you were playing Russellville in week 9 is when they put you at receiver and Austin Berry became the quarterback.
Yes, that was the first time.
That's because you're a better receiver?
It's the first time that I knew Coach Starnes was a smart man because he listened to me.
Calling the show even back in 2003, Coach Thompson. All right, this week's trivia question does have something to do with comebacks. And last week we had one of our biggest comebacks in history. You know, when we're down, customarily, Andy's figured it up. 13% chance the Rockets can come back after being down at halftime. And the question this week is the largest deficit at halftime when the Rockets have been able to come back and win is 14 points. So the biggest halftime deficit ever, 14 points. Name the opponent that the Rockets defeated in that game, in that comeback, and what year. That's the trivia question. If you get the question right, of course you go down to H&H Home and Hardware, give them the correct answer, and you'll get a free round of golf down at Deer Lakes. Also, don't forget Boots for Bucks, or Boot for Bucks, not Boot. Well, there may be more than one opportunity, but it's the kick, and you get $100 if you can kick a 35-yard field goal. Sometimes it gets inched in a little bit, and you'll get $100 as well. So go on Facebook, look for that Boot for Bucks promo, share it, and that enters you in a drawing to have an opportunity to go out on the field at halftime and kick for $100.
I will say that I do know the trivia question answer this time because he typed it big enough for me to see. So I am taking donations.
All right, we're going to take another quick break and we'll come back and close out the show.
Everything in this country was built from the ground up, and it starts with land. When I can go out and take somebody onto a property and see that gleam in their eye when they find a farm that they fall in love with because they're as passionate about land as I am, that's when the magic happens. That's what makes what we do so great. There's no dollar amount. There's nothing else that can compare to the look you get when somebody signs on that dotted line and their dreams have come true about owning land.
All right, welcome back to the show. Closing comments. First, I want to say there will be a chili supper before the last home game against Todd Central. It's a basketball team fundraiser, so not this week, but next week. So get your tickets now for that fundraiser. Coach Courtney sent me a message the other day. He said, "Hey, promo this." So there's your promo, Coach Courtney. Coach Courtney, let's talk about somebody on defense that the average fan or the average person who follows the Rockets just in a cursory type situation, who is somebody that that really means a lot to that side of football, but we don't hear a whole lot about?
A few guys come to mind. One that probably fits in that mode for me is Logan Bailey. He's a guy. I don't start Logan Bailey a lot because he has to do so many different things. If one of the inverts goes down, he has to go play there. He rotates in at corner and free safety. I just use him in so many different ways, and he's a guy that might not ever show up on the stat sheet week to week, but he's getting a lot of reps out there, and if something goes bad like it did against Fulton, I got to have a guy, I say, where's Logan Bailey? And that's really comfortable for a coach, man. You got to have those guys that you can just trust. I can tell him real quick what to do, and I trust that he'll do his best and get the job done.
Yeah, real athletic kid, moved in here a few years ago, had been homeschooled most of his life, and never played football. And he's been introduced to it, and he's really good.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. The kid's got a lot of fight, a lot of heart. He is a small kid, but an athletic kid with a lot of heart. And when you have just a lot of heart and willing to go out there and smart, need to be smart, and he is, you can do a lot with that kid.
Let's go to the offensive side of the football, Coach Thompson, and same question. Who's somebody that doesn't show up in that box score all the time, but does his job week after week, that maybe doesn't get player of the week, or that doesn't get a whole lot of mention, but somebody you really count on?
Well, for me, it's a couple guys as well. One I'm going to say first is Travis Guest, because every week, he's thrown into starting somewhere else based off injuries or someone going down, and he's had to move all over the place and play a lot. And another one in that same capacity is Maddox, playing on the offensive side of the ball. He's always played running back, and this year he's moved out wide for us. He's playing tight end for us. He plays receiver. You're going to see him play receiver a lot this week. But the one, this is a name that everyone hears. But for what he does for his offense, he allows us to be able to switch into different offenses and not have to change people. And that's Caden McAllister, where he can be a receiver for us and then and transform into a fullback or go in the backfield and be a running back, and without us having to sub people out and continue to go fast, because when it comes down to it, the main thing I like when trying to describe my offense is just having the ability to control your tempo. So having guys like him who are Swiss Army knives, you can control your tempo. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can do whatever, and him stay on the field. So those are three guys that stand out to me.
One of the top receivers, and if I'm not mistaken, he has second most yardage rushing too. So yeah,
like I said, he can do a lot of things.
Tough knot too.
He is. Well, he's tough-ish.
Yeah, we don't want to blow him up anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't need to hear it too much. Throw ISH on the end of it. That's enough.
Yeah. Good kid and good football player, good athlete.
Good-ish.
The district title, or the district #1 seed, is on the line this week as the Rockets host Russellville. Russellville, as we mentioned, only 2 wins, Caverna and Fulton County all season long. They're coming in and they think, hey, this is a chance for us to really make our season.
Yeah, but you put emphasis on that 2 and 6. I put emphasis on they're a good football team, a really good football team that's played a really tough schedule. So they're battle tested, and they're probably a little more battle tested than we are as far as strength of schedule. So any punch that we throw, they can eat it and still be in a game doing what they're used to every Friday night. So we're going to really have to continue to throw those punches if we want to go out and take over this football game. So
punch them early and let's make a party out of it, because
every
Friday at Rocket Stadium it's a party. So you're invited. We'll see you Friday night.
Remember, everybody's wearing blue.
Oh yeah, blue out.
Okay,
wear blue. Wear blue and come to the party Friday night. Kickoff 7 p.m.
Jaden Carlson, Maddox Carlson's brother, told me he was going to paint his body blue. So I hope he holds up his end of the deal.
Let's see if we can get some more of our Rocket fans to paint their faces blue. All right, we'll see you Friday night at Rocket Stadium.